Hello and welcome to Alpha 3 of Planet Coaster. We're going to build our first true building today. We need to establish kind of how the park is going to look, maybe some color palette tests, and get the entrance into our Renaissance kind of festival theme park here laid out. It's going to be a pretty cool building, though there are some things to take note of, say, Renaissance fairs and the general aesthetics attached to these. So you're not making 100% accurate recreations of things, because Renaissance fairs, obviously, they don't have a huge amount of money to make these grand structures. In fact, a lot of the times when you go to a Renaissance festival, the buildings are actually kind of ragtag and a little just thrown together to make it work, and to give these shop owners basically a place to work and have shelter if it starts raining. So the gate here, you'll notice that we are doing some castle walls, but they're actually really short. And this is just due to most of these walls, one, should be fake, because they're not going to build an actual castle generally, unless you're that one recreation of a castle in France that they're working on. But this is supposed to be, very parky, campy, slightly unrealistic, and that's what I was going for when designing this. So if you guys, have concerns about it being like this very kind of pinched castle wall, you're just going to have to see it through the lens of what you might see at an actual Renaissance fair. But beyond that, it's going to have two entryways in. We're going to be testing out some new blocks today, as Alpha 3 did add a whole bunch, and we're going to be trying out making a custom tower for each of these palisades. And so, hashtag one more tower is still in effect from Gamescom, obviously, so why not start the episode off with some tower building? The top of the tower is kind of a hexagon type shape, and it's pretty narrow at the top. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using these wooden elements to kind of take it, leave it an open wooden structure, and then widen it and kind of flute it down near the bottom, and then attach that to a concrete structure on the center of our walls here. I wanted to do that, one, because I think an all-stone tower might have looked a little boring, and then two, they're going to be mixing a lot of kind of elements here. So this wall would technically be a wooden wall painted to look like stone, or plaster and shaped into something that might look like stone. At the top, generally there is kind of a covered area. This is where usually at the opening ceremony every day at the Renaissance Fair, the Queen would come up and greet everyone at the entrance and let them into the park. Obviously, it would be kind of a grand procession type deal. And once you are allowed in, of course, you would be basically flung right into it. The Renaissance fairs generally are a very winding kind of element. They're not like super structured or anything, which I think is going to be pretty interesting to see in Planet Coaster, as I feel like Planet Coaster might also lend itself to that kind of planning of roads, just because we don't have that great of a plaza tool. They did add a grid system to the pathing system, which it helps a lot with getting a large kind of squared section and getting that all lined up so a path might actually be functional, but it's not the best looking in my mind still. We're also going to be using all natural pathing for this, and using a lot of texture work to try and get some interesting shapes. Here, this is going to be the stone base of our tower that's just going to go all the way up, and we're going to even add some battlements near the join between the wooden elements and the stone elements. Just something else to create something, giving us an additional layer, basically. This is going to be a relatively quick speed build. You guys are watching it at times 10, so things are progressing rather quickly. Gonna throw in some details here. These are like the half arch detail. This is a new piece, and then even these wooden details on here, which looks more like a fluted element that you might see on like a coffee table. But it does look really cool. And I'm going to be using those flutes to help support the roof in the long run, and I think that's going to be a pretty cool use for them. Beyond that, we're going to have some ATM machines outside in case people didn't bring their money, and also there is our information booth outside. These are kind of representing our ticket booth, as we can't really design our own just yet. In fact, I even tried copying at one point the main ticket kind of area out in the cave entrance of the park, but that didn't quite work out how I wanted. Here, just widening the front and then mixing in some different textures, because this is generally gravel, sometimes mulch, wooden kind of shreds, sawdust type elements thrown about just to mark the path and to prevent, weeds and things from coming up. It would be very well trampled because a lot of people just kind of walk on through. And at this moment, I'm pretty happy with how things are coming out. The towers recolor the roofing to blue, put the thatched kind of across the top. That also kind of gives us a nice little color break from everything. On the back side, once you're inside the park, there's actually some restrooms. Now, those restrooms, technically, when I was designing the building, weren't supposed to be functioning restrooms in a sense. To me, they were the entryways into the tower. At least that's how my thought process was when I put those there. However, they do function as restrooms, which is handy to have anyway. I'm gonna add some greenery, overgrown elements onto here, and then also throw out some minor decoration out front, throwing in some of these new trees. The new tree variation is pretty much the best thing ever. One of these new tents, there's a lot new decorative pieces, from shrubberies to ferns, and anything that we might have been kind of missing before. We at least have kind of an early implementation of something that we all might have wanted and asked for at some point. So at this point, the entryway is pretty much done. There's going to be just a few minor details. Gonna work on the wall a little bit, but I will say this is actually uploaded to the Steam Workshop. With this series, with the introduction of the Steam Workshop, what I'm going to be doing is when I finish a building, I'm going to go ahead and try and upload that to the Steam Workshop. That way you guys can enjoy it, and of course in the description link down below, I'll be able to point you guys in the right direction for that element. So again, it was a relatively quick speed build today. Really nice kind of red wooden elements, breaking up the color of all the gray. I might even change some of the stone color, just because it is a big wall of gray. I wouldn't mind throwing in just some lighter or darker stone elements in there just to break it up a little bit more. But you guys can let me know if you want something like that. Here, just some basic more path expansion, so I can get an idea of how the inside's gonna flow once we're there. In the next episode, hopefully we will get a cool new kind of structure. This, by the way, as you can see, the park entrance is removed from the standard entrance. So I'm going to go kick it back to real-time me at this point. Here we are. This is everything in real time. As you can see, our FPS is greatly improved from the Pokemon Park. And this is going to be our pretty cool kind of ticket booth for the Renaissance Fair Park. As you can see, it's a pretty large scale, I guess you could say, compared to the Peeps. But compared to, say, what most people might build in this game, it's actually pretty small, especially for like castle walls and things. But as I said in the speed build section, I wanted to keep it relatively squished down and scaled down, because Renaissance fairs, they don't really copy things to the exact scale in the future. Then also, having the ticket booth be super tall might prevent people from seeing the buildings over the walls, might prevent some cool view lines that might appear over time. So that's why everything is kind of lower than normal. And people are, kind of walking around. I put some benches and some trash bins just in these sections here, just so the little wooden bits from the path might make a little bit of sense in the long run. Even, threw in some more decorative pieces. The new lighting system, after a while, I did get used to it. It's definitely better, but it's still something off with that brightness, guys. Like it's It's just slightly, everything has too much of a glare effect almost. Here's some of the new trees. This is a Douglas fir. Very tall and nice. Definitely a lot more evergreen type things. This is a blue Douglas fir. And back here, this is a spruce tree. And we even have some birch trees now, which are great. Definitely getting a lot more variety, and the color differences really helps a lot, even down to our small shrubs. They even gave us some proper green bushes to use. So building up that kind of green front near your forest edge is going to be a lot easier now. We're not going to be using the tops of trees anymore. We actually have a piece for it. But yeah, the decorating is a little light outside, but that's normal for a Renaissance Fair park. You can see just how the path is currently connecting, and then it just kind of winds its way back over there. So basically, I'm just taking the park as this is the starting point. Ignore all of that. So, if you guys enjoyed today's episode, feel free to subscribe as we go through and build a lot more stuff. This is actually a short episode for two reasons. One, I was meeting my father as he's in town from the other coast of the United States, so I had to have dinner with the pops. Two, it's also much faster to build things now because we don't have to really build our own spires. We have a lot more pieces to work with, so inherently building is going to be quicker, and hopefully in the next episode a lot more will be done. So, as I said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new, feel free to subscribe. Check out my other videos. Leave a like so you guys let me know you're excited for this new park. And until then, as the sun sets in the background, I'll see you guys in some more Planet Coaster.